Andrew, when you talked at the beginning about, how in fact Churchill is seen as a kind of fictional character to many young people, he's also apparently in various surveys, there's an ad with a bulldog for an insurance company, I think, and some people thought that this was actually what they meant by Churchill. What would your observations be about how we change the way history is actually taught, how our island story, if you like, is carried on? What would you like to see happen?
Oh, I think just try and teach it. Treat it totally objectively. You've got to teach the bad sides of things like the British Empire, for example. Of course, you must, but you should see it in an overall arc, a trajectory that appreciates that for most of the people in most of the empire for most of the time, it was an extraordinary good. It was something that brought incredible benefits, that brought peace for a very long time in places that hadn't had it for ages, that brought the doubling of the life expectancy for Indians, for example, that enormously increased the numbers of people. Things that Churchill was incredibly proud of, and which no racist, no true racist would be proud of the fact that he doubled life expectancy of non-white people and increased the numbers of non-white people, or at least the British Empire did, of which he was a champion. That's another reason that I think we can ignore these attacks on him today, because underlying them is the complete misconception that because he believed in a racial hierarchy, he was therefore the same as Adolf Hitler. No, he wasn't.
No.
He was the exact opposite. He was somebody whose sense of moral purpose of the British Empire, along with most people who were working for the British Empire, working in the British Empire and defending the British Empire, did it because they had an altruistic sense that it was good not just for Britain, but also for the native peoples of the empire, because they didn't see economics, for example, as a zero-sum game.
Yeah.
They saw it instead as something where development would be able to help both sides. And if we were able to teach the next generation that, I think that we would find that we wouldn't have people with spray paints acting like ignoramuses in the centre of our great capital.
Well, yes, I think this is unfortunately a story that's going to continue for a while. But before we leave it there, Andrew, I just wanted, could you actually just settle one thing? During the whole Brexit argument, if we can cast our minds back to now, what seems like another world, yes, Churchill was used by both sides, wasn't he? He was used by both sides. And I wonder, what was his attitude to Britain and the EU and Britain in Europe? Can you settle it for us?
Yes, I believe I can. I've worked very hard on this. There are lots of quotations, of course, in my book about this issue. He wanted to have a European federation, a European project. He wanted to have Europe come together. He never wanted, as he put it, Teuton to fight Gaul. He'd lost too many friends in both the First World War and the Second World War when Teuton fought Gaul, ever to want that to happen again. But he didn't believe that the United Kingdom needed to be a member of that federation. He was all in favour of there being a European coming together, but he never wanted Britain to be part of it because he saw Britain as the ideal place that could be part of the special relationship with the United States, which a term that he invented in that speech at Harvard I mentioned earlier. He also saw us as being a link with the Commonwealth, all the countries of the Commonwealth that we'd be able to trade with, and also with Europe. He wanted us to be a friend and an ally of Europe, but never a member of European Union as it became, or the Commonwealth as it was during his lifetime. And he made that pretty clear in a series of memos and various things he said to Montgomery and so on, all of which you'll find in my book.
Well, the book again, of course, is Churchill by Andrew Roberts, and it is quite brilliant. Thank you very, very much, Andrew, for joining us. That's it this week for So What You're Saying Is. Just to remind you, the book, which is wonderful, Churchill by Andrew Roberts. It's available in all good bookshops when they open, and indeed, of course, on Amazon. We look forward to seeing you next time. Thank you very much.